So I want to jump on something that Saeed had mentioned earlier, and it was partly, I think, kudos to David, but I think it's important. Um, you were talking about the fact that how he's excelled even in that region. I think that there are a lot of people that might think, well, you know, Utah, maybe he's got maybe just the population there is going to be easier to manage, but that's not the case. And I would say um, frankly, you guys have demonstrated a whole lot of success that clearly has taken a lot of hard work and determination. But, over the years, you've now gotten to not only 5 stars overall, but 5 stars within all the CAHPS measures. And this last year was a big push. So you took one of the measures from a 4 to a 5, and you took one of them from a 2 to a 5. And I think for everybody out there who's thinking about CAHPS and thinking about how important this is for their scores this year, I'd be curious to have you guys just kind of quickly step through. Are there specific steps that you guys undertook, especially to move that one from 2 to 5 in one year? But are there specific things that you'd recommend as plans? Right here at the end of this year, how are we thinking about making these initiatives to truly impact our scores for next year?
Yeah, I'll take a first stab at that. Our CAP scores have not always been high. I know there are some plans out there that have always had high CAP scores. We had a lot of 3s and some 2s. We really, we're not a high star rated plan, and we made several changes. One was we really tried not to make any negative benefit or changes to the plan. And we learned that lesson by implementing a drug deductible, communicating it in the ANOC, and assuming that members would understand that benefit change. And then here comes January, and they all have to start paying for their prescription, the full cost of their prescriptions in January, and the phone calls started coming. And needless to say, we were rated fairly low that next year on the CAHPS survey. So one, we really avoid at all costs making negative changes to anything. If a provider leaves, if a medical group leaves the plan, if we have to change and take away a supplemental benefit, if we have to make changes on the formulary, what we're doing out in front of that is overly communicating. Every person that's affected by that gets a personal phone call to try to explain the change. So that's one thing we did. The second thing we did was try to avoid abrasion. We took away a lot of the IVR calls that we were doing, did more work with our providers reaching out to our members, and we did more focused communication to subpopulations instead of trying to communicate to the whole population. And then we used direction from Saeed to focus on members. So, for example, one of the things we did during COVID is we used Decision Point to help us predict which of the members on our plan would have the most complications from COVID if they got COVID. And then that was, a significant number of members, but our customer service team at that particular point were not receiving a lot of inbound calls. And so we did a lot of outbound calls to individuals to educate them about how to be tested, what their benefits were, and what the resources were if they did get COVID, and how to stay safe. And we sent them all a face mask that had Select Health on it, and we'd go around and we'd see people with their Select Health masks on, and people really appreciated those kinds of things. So we did a lot of things, not just one thing. So again, I take it back to a HEDIS measure. There's not one golden egg thing out there that you're going to do to improve your CAHPS survey. You have to nickel and dime it just like you would a strategy related to HEDIS. So you have to have a couple, 3 or 4 member strategies. You have to involve your providers. We haven't even scratched the surface in this call about how to get providers educated about their impact on CAHPS and have them help you outreach directly to their patients, your members, to improve CAHPS.